Morning and welcome to SimWorld today here on a Thursday edition. We've got plenty of football to get to here on a Thursday night football edition of this show. I am Marsh, joined this morning by J.K. Candell. Good morning, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Maybe a little bit under the weather, but we're making the best of it. Just happy to be here.
Sixth season. It is sixth season. It's almost sixth season back in the home state, but it's sixth season for JK. But we're going to power through. Let's start with San Francisco and Christian McCaffery, where finally got the news about his injury. It is a Achilles tendonitis. The team has said he's not going on IR. They are feeling confident he will be able to play. JK, are you concerned about this injury for the 49ers in the long run?
Yeah, I am more concerned about this for Christian McCaffrey, given that he does have a bit of a long injury history throughout his career. But I like Jordan Mason looked good against the Jets. They're obviously you're missing so much out of that backfield without Christian McCaffrey. But I think that team will be just fine. The way they use Deebo Samuel will kind of replicate that juice coming out of the backfield that you're not getting from Jordan Mason. This is a very good team, and missing the best running back in football would hurt any team in the league. But it's not a long-term injury reportedly. It's week to week. Could see him back as soon as either Sunday or week 3. It's not going to hurt them at all in the long run because when they really need him at 100%, he'll be 100%. That's simple.
I'm concerned because Achilles are not injuries that you want to mess around with. We've seen this happen with plenty of players. We draw the line to Kevin Durant, even though if there was one medical reporter who was saying Kevin Durant is the only player that he's seen in his tracking of Achilles tears that actually progressed from a calf injury to an Achilles injury. But I'm concerned because it's a high workload for a guy that is elite. And if the 49ers do not have Christian McCaffrey at full strength, as good as Jordan Mason was, this is not the same football team. And so, yes, Christian McCaffrey should be back. Yes, the team has said they are not concerned about him long term. I'm not necessarily concerned about the long term, but if there's any factor that keeps Christian McCaffrey sidelined, this team is not the same Super Bowl contending team that they were walking into week 1 when everyone expected McCaffrey to be a full go. If that's the version we get, then there's a little bit of danger. Despite all the weapons they've got, you are not the same football team if Christian McCaffrey is not healthy. Let's head to Thursday night football here in South Florida. It's going to be Miami hosting Buffalo, a pair of 1-0 teams, along with the Patriots in the AFC East. Is this a must-win game for either of these two teams, considering the divisional matchup here in Miami, JK?
You can't call a week 2 primetime game a must-win game. There's definitely a higher level of importance with it being an AFC East divisional game on Thursday night. I think it's very important for Miami to take a win like this. You're at home, you're playing your biggest competition for the division crown, and frankly, they really kind of escaped with one against the Jaguars. They trailed for most of that game. They came from behind and won. If they went into this game 0-1, I'd be a lot more alarmed. But given both of these teams are 1-0, I think both of them are in a good spot, and winning this game is really beneficial to both of these teams in the long run, more so to this emerging young group of weapons in Buffalo.
I don't think must-win games exist until you get to Week 12. There's simply too many games and opportunities for variance that creates this facade of a must-win early on. We get all the statistics about the percentage of teams that make the playoffs when they're 0-2, the percentage that make at 1-1. This is a want-to-win. This is an elevated want-to-win game because, of course, you want to win every game, but it's a divisional game. The chances are this could have some impacts on standings within the division, which could mean a division championship or a wild card berth. That means the difference between having a home playoff game and not having a home playoff game. And when you're Miami, you do want to have a home playoff game because we saw what happens when they go on the road to an ice cold Kansas City and the team simply did not answer the bell for whatever reason. Miami players and Miami teams, tale as old as time, cannot play in cold weather. It's a want to win, but to call it a must win is simply too soon because it's week 2. And I've never been a fan of putting Thursday night games in general off the short week. I've never been a fan, even more so, of divisional games being on a short week because it vastly undervalues and impacts the product on the field. And this is as big of a game as you can get in terms of what is a week 2 matchup. So must win? No, not quite. Want to win? You betcha, because you got to beat your divisional rivals, because it's going to set you up in the long run to try to win some football games. All right, let's head to Arizona, where there was some concern potentially, maybe some bubbling issues with the Arizona Cardinals after Marvin Harrison was a 1 for 4 yards guy. Not very happy. Said the opener wasn't great in their loss, in which they blew a lead to the Buffalo Bills. Panic level rising, JK, for Arizona here?
Little bit. I would say it's also the first game of Marvin Harrison Jr.'s young SWFL career. There were going to be growing pains. You should kind of know what you sign up for especially when you draft such a prolific player. The expectations are going to be high. Sometimes it might take a couple of weeks or a couple of games to kind of reach that plateau or eclipse that plateau. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think the target share will go up in week 2. I think they ran the ball a lot in week 1, which against the pass defense for Buffalo is very good. I think week 2 they're gonna have to be inclined to throw the football a little bit more. They're gonna want to get Marvin Harrison involved. They know the talent level he has. They have to scheme him open, but frankly, when it all comes down to it, he was wide open on the last play of that game. Kyler did not have the means or opportunity to make that throw. It's a bit of a bummer, but we know the talent level Marvin Harrison Jr. has. He's one of the best wide receiver prospects I've ever seen. There's definitely some worrisome aspects, but it's the first game of his young career. Things are gonna get better. He'll be okay. We'll see him eclipse 1,000 yards still. I'm not worried at all.
With that play where the clip is awesome, you just see him running free, handed up open. Obviously, would have been a game-winning touchdown opportunity. What we don't see is that Kyler Murray during that play is under constant duress.
I said that.
I didn't say you didn't say that, did I, JK? I just said that. We
No.
don't see the side-by-side of Kyler Murray under constant duress. That is the story of this game. It was that Kyler Murray was not able to get comfortable in the pocket and make consistent plays. He was decently comfortable in the first half. The second half of that game, the Buffalo Bills front was getting to him consistently. That's going to be what they need to clean up. Marvin Harrison, he can be frustrated, and to call it frustrated is, I think he said he was frustrated by it. That's fine, but it's more of a frustration. He said it wasn't great. That's the quote you use. Yeah, but he also said many other things, and it's not as if he just said wasn't great, that's it. The whole quote was definitely wasn't what I expected, what I wanted to happen, what the team wanted to happen. I don't think there's frustration, concern in Arizona, mostly because the expectations of this team were not necessarily to win their division. They've got better teams in that division with more established talent. This is a team that was very, very bad last year. That's why they had a chance to take Marvin Harrison Jr. So long as that continues, this team is going to be in the running. But a just step forward to 6, 7, 8 wins, that's a positive season for Arizona, so long as they don't regress back to what they were a season ago. 1 week on the road in Buffalo, losing a game they should have lost. I'm not going to get too concerned about that. All right, that is our show here on a Thursday, JK. Appreciate you coming on. We will be back tomorrow morning with Rick Blaze, his self-proclaimed Alpha and Omega, to close out the week here on SimWorld Today. Appreciate you tuning in on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.